to today's Vlogmas video. I'm going to do a quick book haul for you today. These books I've been gathering for the last quarter of the year, I would say, and I thought I would share them with you because some of them are really great little gems that I'm happy to have. The first ones I wanted to talk about were books that I got for my birthday, and they are these adorable little Everyman's Library pocket editions of poetry. So this one is poems about trees. I mean, these are just such lovely little editions. So well made and so lovely to have, and I love the spines especially. Each one has a unique spine. This one is Motherhood, poems about mothers, with this little spine on it. And I had put these onto my Amazon wish list after purchasing secondhand these original two. So Poems of Paris and Poems of the Sea. And again, amazing spines, so that when you put them all together, you get this lovely little collection. So I haven't really delved into reading any of these yet, but I just love having them on my shelves. Super excited to have these sweet little books. The other book that I got for my birthday is this bad boy, and this is Morning Glory on the Vine, Early Songs and Drawings by Joni Mitchell. I'm a pretty big Joni Mitchell fan, and this is a book that she actually published herself in 1971 as gifts for her friends. And so they took that book and they printed it so people could buy it. So you have a lot of her really great drawings. I don't know if many of you know of Joni Mitchell, but she's a visual artist as well as a singer, songwriter, poet. She's kind of a Renaissance woman. And so you just get these amazing, colorful images, and then her handwriting of her lyrics and some poems. I don't think all of these are published. This one that she did of Georgia O'Keeffe is incredible. Georgia O'Keeffe was one of her idols, and so yeah, so that was one I got as well. Really excited about that one. And the rest of these are fiction, I believe. Oh, then there's this little Crowlogue, which is a poetry pamphlet, and I picked this up when we were in Tofino at the end of August. These are all prose and poems all about crows, written by local authors from the Tofino area. They actually have a writing group, I believe, that this is the Clayquot writers group. So I thought, just goes with my aesthetic. I love crows, so yeah. Okay, so the rest are fiction, and some of them I picked up. These are all secondhand. Some of them I picked up at library sales. Some of them I picked up at a secondhand bookstore, a local independent secondhand bookstore that I frequent. This one is by Emile Zola. It is Therese Raquin. So Emile Zola is a French author that I have never read, and he was a contemporary with a lot of the impressionists and artists who have huge names, and so I thought it was time to read one of his books. This was accused of being pornography. It's full of scandal. It's a thriller, adultery, murder, and revenge. So I'm just gonna try it out and see if I like it. I have no idea if I will get along with the way he writes, but it was translated by Leonard Tancock. I think that's the name. Yeah, so excited to try this in the future. I also picked up a copy of Sweet Francaise by Irene Nemirovsky. She was a Jewish woman living in Paris, and when the Nazis occupied Paris, they sent her to Auschwitz, and that is where she died. And so this novel was her recording of the Nazi invasion in Paris in the 1940s and into France, basically. And I have a whole TBR of books set in France and Paris that I will be talking about in another video. And so this was on there, and when I saw this really good condition copy, I thought I would just get it to keep for myself. Okay, next we have M.G. Vasanji, No New Land. And this is, M.G. Vasanji is a Canadian author. This story is about Asian immigrants from Africa that have moved to a suburb of Toronto, Ontario. And they try to make their way as immigrants in a new country, and then the father, I believe, is accused of sexual assault, and it follows their story and the fact that they have to deal with so much being immigrants, and then what happens when a false accusation like this is put against someone. So yeah, I've heard a lot about M.G. Vasanji, and I'm excited to try out his writing and see if he's another Canadian author that I would like to read more of. Pick this up. It's called The Art Forger by B.A. Shapiro. This is, I thought it just sounded kind of fun and intriguing and a bit entertaining, It's a thriller. This is about Claire Roth, who is an art forger, and what happens when she is commissioned to forge a Degas masterpiece. And she follows a story of intrigue and etc. around this piece of art. So yeah, excited to get to that. And finally, this is a book I've already read, but I wanted to include it here because I want to collect all of Amy McKay's work. And Amy McKay is a Canadian author. She was originally born in the United States, now lives in Nova Scotia. This is her debut novel. It was a huge bestseller in Canada, and it is called The Birth House, and it is about women's reproductive rights around the time of the First World War in Canada. Amy actually was inspired to write this book when she bought her house in Nova Scotia and discovered that it had been a birth house in the past, and so she researched what that meant. Midwives who were helping women in small towns give birth and with their reproductive health, and it's a wonderful story, and I will reread it in the future because it's been quite a long time since I've read it, at least like 20 years, and I'd like to remember more of the plot. So that is my little book haul today. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you again tomorrow.